infection, lupus, is a leading cause of mortality in females. According to the research, lupus is the primary chronic inflammatory disease in women aged between 15 and 25. It ranks higher than diabetes, HIV, chronic lower respiratory diseases and liver diseases. It is also largely unrecognized, or has been largely unrecognized until now. Health expert Giulia Criscuolo joins us from Cape Town. Good evening, Giulia. It's great to have you with us. And I certainly hope that I haven't butchered any part of your title there. But if you can talk to us a little bit more about lupus and the disease that is seemingly claiming the lives of so many women.
Yes, Cathy. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. There are many autoimmune diseases, and lupus is one of them. And basically what happens is the body starts to attack itself. It starts to kill off its own cells. And with lupus, what is attacked is the skin, for example, the joints get attacked, the kidneys, the heart, the lungs. And these organ systems start to deteriorate because the body is attacking it. That's why it's called an autoimmune disease. But it's a chronic disease. It takes place over many years and not always easy to diagnose, unfortunately.
And do we know what causes it?
Unfortunately, we don't know of a specific cause, although there are certain factors that trigger the illness. For example, if you're a woman, unfortunately, you have 8 times more of a chance of getting lupus compared to men. And also if your environment plays a part, genetics plays a part, and so does hormones. So for example, if you've had severe trauma in your life, or if you have a lot of stress, physical, emotional, if you live in a toxic environment, all of these factors can play a role in actually triggering the disease. But we don't really know the specific cause of lupus, unfortunately.
And one of the things, at least it has been my personal experience, that for a long time, many women who are, living with lupus have had to almost keep it under wraps, and only now are we seeing a move where more and more people are starting to come forward and say, I've been living with this disease for so many years and this is my experience.
Yes, and it's so sad that there should be any kind of stigma, or that someone can't, just be open and forthright about their disease. And that's why you have support groups which help people through this illness, because it affects your whole lifestyle. It affects your life, and you constantly having to manage your symptoms, because one day you find that your joints are very sore, then the next day you have a rash on your skin, and then that clears up, and then suddenly your kidneys play up. So it really is, it's not something separate to your life, it's really part of it. And I think people with lupus learn to live with it. But if they can get support and understanding, then it really helps them live with the illness. Because they're still people who have a life, family, relationships, and it's still possible to have a quality of life despite having lupus.
And let's talk about that support and that understanding and what exactly it should entail. And I mean more practically here, from the point of those people who are in employment, who some of them are working quite strenuous jobs, but perhaps aren't finding the necessary empathy from their employees about the situation that they're realistically in.
Absolutely. To be able to pace yourself as well. So if you are in a working environment, recognize that you need to really prioritize yourself and put a lot of emphasis on self-care. So to know that you have a certain amount of energy in a day, this is how much you can do, and to be able to say no to certain things. And if, for example, you explain to your work colleagues or your boss or your partner that you are a person living with lupus, and that you need to take care of yourself, you need to have time off, and to be able to not burn the candle at both ends, make sure that you have time to exercise, get into fresh air, have a good night's sleep. This is all really important. So lupus really calls that person to put themselves as a top priority in their lives and really exercise self-care, which is actually something we should all be doing, is really having good self-care. And also to remember that even if you are on medication, to look at, maybe taking supplements that can support you as you are dealing with this illness. There's a lot of good, healthy lifestyle factors that you can do to make sure that you have a good quality of life.
And in terms of this latest study, when we get into the details, does it show, finer details where demographics are concerned, or is that not really an issue here?
No, actually, with lupus and actually many autoimmune diseases tend to be much higher in women than men, and lupus especially tends to be prominent in Asian and black women, much more than Caucasian women. We don't know exactly why that is, but those demographics do seem to be quite apparent with lupus.
And
and also women in the younger age group, especially between 15 and 24 years of age.
If somebody's at home and listening to this interview and thinking, where can I go for more information on this, just not only to equip myself, but perhaps loved ones around me that may be living with the disease, what's the first point of reference you would point them to?
I would say they can go to the Coin Healthcare website, which will give you wonderful tips on health and wellness. And then maybe, so the Coin Healthcare, that's a website to go to, and look at lupus support groups. That has a lot of information on the condition, what to be aware of, what symptoms to look out for. But remember, we don't want to create fear and anxiety in people. The important thing is to have a healthy lifestyle, take care of yourself, and if you have any condition that becomes chronic and you're not getting better, that's the time to go to your healthcare practitioner and make sure to get a good, proper check-out, get a diagnosis, especially when things don't resolve naturally by themselves. But a healthy lifestyle is really important. And at the website Coin Healthcare, there's a lot of good information about how to keep healthy and well.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on to Newsnight tonight and sharing this important piece of information. Health expert Giulia Criscuolo.